This video is purely for harm reduction and does not promote the use of any drugs.
How to microdose LSD. The easy method, cutting up your tabs. Not recommended. Get your tab and make sure you know what dosage it is. Tabs can vary from 0 to 300 mics or more, so this step is vital. If you're not sure of the dose but you're going to do this anyway regardless of what I tell you, then don't do your first microdose at work or school or anywhere where you'll have expectations of you in case the dose is too high and you're left slightly tripping. If you do know the dose of your tab, I still really don't recommend this method because of hotspots. Whilst your tab might be 100 mics, it may have 20 mics on one side and 80 mics on the other side as a result of the way tabs are laid. This means that you literally cannot know the dosage of your microdose. Not only that, but you can't cut pieces of paper that small very accurately. This also risks degrading your LSD with your sweaty, meaty fingers. The slightly harder but still easy method. You're going to need distilled water or alcohol, a measuring syringe, some LSD, a 10-year-old's math skills or 7 if you're Asian, and preferably a container where you can store microdoses. Whatever you do, don't use tap water, it's going to degrade your LSD. For alcohols, ethanol is ideal, but something like vodka also works. You might want to dilute these as they're not going to be pleasant to take, unless you're an alcoholic. Now comes your favorite part, the maths. Depending on the size of your measuring syringe, I recommend a 1ml syringe. You're going to want to put your tab into a small container and add some distilled water and remember the ratio. For example, take your 150 mic tab and add 15 milliliters of distilled water. That way you know that 1 milliliter is going to equal 10 mics. 150 mics divided by 15 is equal to 10 mics. 15 milliliters divided by 15 is equal to 1 milliliter. Just divide both sides by the same number to keep the ratio. I recommend you write this in the container so you don't forget. Close the container and then shake it up a bit. If it lets light inside it, then wrap it in tin foil because LSD gets degraded by light. And then you can just leave it for a day at room temperature or in the fridge and your microdoses will be ready. So let's say you want 12 micrograms. Well, assuming you have a 1 milliliter per 10 microgram solution, you would take 1.2 milliliters. Just scale it up and down as you like. This should last you a few months in distilled water and even longer in alcohol. You want to be taking a sub-perceptual dose. Anything more is more of a macro dose. This can be between 2 to 15 micrograms depending on who you are. I wouldn't start with more than 10 micrograms, especially at work or school, and even then that may be a little bit much. Honestly, I do your first microdoses indoors just to make sure everything's good before you go trying it in public. A well accepted and recommended schedule is microdosing every 3 days. That means you have 1 dose day and then 2 sober days. Some people say you can dose every other day, though if you're going to do this, do some reading, and based on my research, I don't recommend it for most people. You might also run into tolerance issues. I definitely wouldn't dose every day for various reasons I don't need to get into. You can of course also comfortably do less. Not many people mention this, so I want to throw it in. If you're doing other drugs in your dose days, then be careful, especially with weed, which you should go slow on. I've smoked on the come down of a microdose before, only to be left tripping absolute balls. I've got loads more psychedelic related content coming out, so let me know what you'd like to see in the comments, and if this helped you out then I'd appreciate a like, and I welcome you to the TripTips family.